You're so cute. You're so cute.
It's like 2:03, 2 p.m. I'm sorry, 3 minutes have passed.
This is all and nothing at all. This silence sounding this nothing being everything, this happening that's not happening. This is that isn't. This knowing that's unknown. There's simply nothing else. There's no more and there's no less. There's nothing to find, nothing to lose. In the seeming losing of everything, everything is left. There's no working it out. But if there's working it out is it too. There are no exceptions. There's no exclusion. There's no possibility of inclusion. And so the exclusion is impossible. The search is seemingly waiting to be included. Hello. What do you want? That's what the cat thinks of that. Sod your non-duality. Where's my dinner? There's no getting this. If you think there's human beings who have got this, that's the illusion. That there are some special ones, some lucky ones, some chosen ones, some special ones. There are no ones. Because while there is the illusion that there are ones, of course, there are ones who have got this, then of course, I'm another one who could get this. Cats, mothers. And it sounds deadly serious. It's not serious. There's nothing serious going on here. It's fucking not. As the cats just pointed out. And the nutcrackers that Mum's just dropped on the table. That's what we're speaking about. It might just be obvious that the cat meowing and someone dropping nutcrackers is no less significant than the wisest, most profound words you've ever heard spoken. Nothing is more significant than anything else. All happenings have equal insignificance. And in that, there can be seeming significance, but that doesn't have any significance. Whatever significance you're placing upon what seems to happen is really, really light as a feather without you demanding that I'm right in my attribution of significance to that and the insignificance of something else. Everything that happens is utterly equal in its neutrality. But that also applies to whatever meaning, purpose, significance that is seemingly attributed to what happens. That has no significance either. Everything is light. So what we're speaking of is not that, oh, there won't be opinions anymore, there won't be beliefs, there won't be judgment, preference, liking and disliking. It's just that they don't mean anything. So we're not talking just about liberation for the human being you've called yourself. We're talking about liberation for all human beings and their predilections, for their foibles, for their behavior, for their reactions. for what they feel is significant. The dream is that a human being can be other than it is. That's the dream of me. The dream of my power, the dream of personal power, personal autonomy. Now, the dreamer won't give that up. That's why this message doesn't have any purpose, doesn't have any agenda, doesn't have any suggestions about how you might go about not being you. The suggestion is simply that there is no you, not that there can be a falling away of the you, a dropping of it, an unraveling of it, a disintegration of it. There is no it. There is only this. This doesn't fall away. This is completely unmoving. This is stillness moving. It's not even that there isn't movement. It's that the movement and the stillness, the movement and the not movement are not two. This doesn't go anywhere. This doesn't become anything. There is no becoming. And the impossibility of becoming is the peace and the rest and the love. The love that you can't become who you want to be, who you feel you could be. There is no who could be. There simply is what is. And what you've called yourself is no different from that. What you've called yourself is exactly as it is. The story of becoming, that you become who you are now, is just that. It's just a story. And the story remains, but it might be seen, it might be obvious that all we have when we're sharing with each other is stories. Not truth, not reality, stories. Truth is unknowable, ungraspable. There is no one who has a better handle on the truth, the absolute, than you. No matter who you've made your master, who you've made special, that is just magical thinking, wishing, hoping that you too could become whatever you fantasize that you could become. There's no love in that. What there is in that is endless effort, constant unrest, striving, discontent, dissatisfaction. So this is a dreadful message, in that it's a message of disillusionment. If there was a path, then disillusionment would be it. If speaking about this had a purpose, no, so I'm careful not to say it is, but if it had a purpose, then disillusionment would be the purpose. But even that that can't be a purpose, because the very sense of me is the illusion. And of course, I mean, just even rationally, it can be seen, it might be obvious. I remember it when it was obvious to me as a seeker, that how would the illusion have the power to see through its own illusion? That's not what we're speaking of. It doesn't need any seeing. It doesn't need it to be seen through. There can't be any seeing through. What there can be is you can't say really. It may feel like death though, but there's nothing to die. But as I am the illusion, the felt sense of I am, the disillusionment that I am can feel is inevitably going to feel dreadful. Because what am I without that? What will I be? Who will I be? What will I be able to do? How will I function? Well, the good news is you're never doing any of it. You've never done anything. That's the wonderful news. But it's dreadful news for me. Everything, all your achievements, burnt to ashes. Everything incinerated, all of it. You want to hold on, almost inevitably, self will, yeah, well, I'm happy that can go. Yeah, that's gone. In fact, I'm fucking pleased to see the back of that. But this I hold so precious. This is so close to me. I can't let that go. And no, you can't let that go. I'm not speaking about a letting go. I'm not talking about surrender or acceptance. They're just more work for me. I was striving, now I'm surrendering. Well, self doesn't mind with its striving to achieve or surrendering and giving up. They're both activities for me, and in that I stay fully in the driving seat, in the illusory, in that illusory driver's seat, still holding the steering wheel, even if I'm going in reverse. Even if I put my hands up and I've taken my hands off the wheel. So it sounds dreadful. And yet it's just speaking of love.
Joey has his hand up, Tim.
Hi, Joey.
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 Yeah.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah. Hi, man.
Yeah. That was a sweet melody you just sang there. And
Oh,
I
it's
hated every bit of it.
it's bittersweet, isn't it?
Oh God. It's just fucking dreadful.
I know.
It's like I want a resolution. And it's always at arm's length, you know, it's over there. And it's like that's what I feel like my whole body on the inside is striving towards that resolution. And it doesn't give a fuck what it is, that resolution.
No.
One moment can be one thing, the next moment can be a different thing. Anything just to go towards.
Yeah.
Anything but this, as it is.
I know.
It's relentlessly exhausting.
Mm.
And then sometimes you get caught up in the wheel of it, and then it feels, oh yeah, look at me. I'm
Yeah.
going towards it's all going good. And then it just
Yeah. No, it is dreadful. I mean, I joke because this just the nature of this character is that I joke. But what we're talking about is utterly dreadful. There's nothing more dreadful than I never existed. And the most dreadful part of that is, of course, there is no resolution for something that doesn't exist. It's not a possibility. We're just speaking about the impossibility of a resolution. And you might have imagined that when you've heard speakers speak about this, well, they've come to some resolution. That's not what's being said at all. There is no resolution. This can't be resolved. When there is only this, it is the end. What the peace, though, the rest, Joey, the reason I speak about this and why it's worth speaking about is the seeking resolution is the torture. Even when it's good, you know, you just said, yeah, sometimes it's good, because sometimes it seems like I've at least found some resolution in, I've got somewhere today. And it felt good. But you're back straight on the wheel next morning, trying to find it again. Really, all we're talking about is the end of the one who was looking. You know, there's no, then there's no, we're talking about the end of the desire, the end of the need for resolution. This can't be resolved. I think that's why this message is never very popular, is the popular messages, which can sound similar to what's being said, there's similarities, but they hint at leading to some kind of resolution, some kind of ending. Well, this doesn't end.
If what you just said, I don't even know what it was exactly, but what my thinking was, if there's no resolution, and I think he was just an intellectual exercise maybe, but what came to my mind is, if there's no resolution, then what you're looking for has never gone away.
No, this never goes away. So there can't be a resolution of something that always is. No. It requires none. This has absolutely no requirements. That's the most dreadful news for me. You know, I'm always thinking about what needs to be done. Well, nothing needs to be done. Whether there's doing or not doing, it makes absolutely no difference whatsoever. You know, so there can be, you've heard of paths where, you know, there's practices to get somewhere, and then there's paths of negation and not doing, as though that might also get somewhere. There's no getting anywhere. Where would you get to? And then there's an incredible peace that is, but it's not my peace. It's not peace for me. This is at peace. You could say this life is at peace with itself.
Yeah, I'm never gonna get there.
You're not, no. But remember, I mean, no one's got there. There isn't anyone who gets there. There isn't a there to get to, and there isn't anyone who could get there. There isn't a getting anyway.
Thanks, Tim.
I'm not sure you should be thanking me, John.
I'm not sure either.
No, I mean, I'm sure you're not sure. Yeah, I mean, I've said this a lot before. If you've come to meetings before, you've heard me say a lot. I did not get where I wanted to get to. I can't emphasize that enough. This is not what I was hoping for. This is not what I was aiming for. This is not what I thought, whatever we're talking about, you know, what the absence of self would be like. Not at all. It's not remotely like it. What is it like? It's like anything. It's like it is. You know, that can be, I mean, it is absolutely no different from being me. There you go. I mean, what the fuck is that? You're just waiting for it to be different, aren't you? And then you'll know the difference. You go, oh, thank fuck I'm gone. Well, no, there'll be none of that. There's no recognizing something that never was when it's gone. There's nothing to see. There's nothing to notice. There's no one noticing.
Avery has his hand up. Go ahead, Avery.
Hi, Tim. Can you hear me?
Hi, Avery.
Hi. I've been hanging around this trip for a long time, and I thought I'd got to the point where I wasn't going to ask any more questions, but here I am again.
Yeah, well, that's a bit like saying you'll never buy another non-duality book, isn't it?
Right, right.
Yeah,
I've burnt them already.
Have you burned them?
Yeah, they're useless.
Good.
Anyway, before I get to my question, I have an observation, perhaps.
Yeah.
When you said just now, where would you want to get to, right?
Yeah.
I would say I want to get to nothing, and I'm somewhere. Right now,
Yeah.
I'm somewhere, so I want to get to nothing. Anyway, it seems to me, in all the years of checking this out, there could be two ways for this to ever happen. And there are a whole bunch of people like yourself, Eckhart Tolle, Wayne Lickerman, Paul Hederman, Jeff Foster. They all burnt in the ashes, right? They collapsed in agony and despair. And as you said yourself, you didn't surrender, you were defeated.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, that's
So
much more accurate. Yeah.
So you were kind of dragged to the cliff and thrown over, whereas the rest of us can get to the cliff and can't jump. It's sort of a bit like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's pretty clear to me that I'm not going to go that way. There was a time when I was obsessed with it, and that was where I would have ended up, but somehow that's eased off and I don't do that anymore.
Right.
But the other way is when something just happens out of the blue, like for Tony, when he kind of looks out the window and stops and gazes down at the carpet, and all of a sudden he disappears, right? He doesn't seem to die. He doesn't seem to, fight the good fight. He just suddenly jumps, or something happens and he's not there anymore.
Right.
So there seems to be two possibilities, and I'm definitely not in the first one, and I'm hanging out for the second one, right?
Yeah.
Right, which kind of brings me to my question, right? In order to get to the question, I have to quickly explain something to show how it got there. A few years back, I used to meditate late at night. And one particular night, I opened my eyes and just somehow knew that I wasn't there anymore. I don't know how I could explain it, but there seemed to be no me, no self, nothing. Right. And the whole sensation, when I kind of looked into around my kind of space, was everything was absolutely perfect the way that it was and couldn't be any other way.
Mm-hmm.
It was just obvious that was the truth. Yeah. And then the realization that how ordinary it was, and that the understanding that extraordinary doesn't mean extraordinary, it means extraordinary. Yeah. It was so ordinary that there was nothing to even think about. It was like nothing yeah. At all. Yeah. Okay. So then that lasted for about an hour as I shut up the house and locked the doors and went to bed. It was so ordinary, there was nothing even to kind of think about it all. No. There was no thinking. Somehow it just was perfect. So I went to bed, and of course, next morning I wake up and I'm back on the wheel again. And that brings me to the question that every time I listen to Jim or Tony, they keep telling me that nothing needs to happen, right? And even you have said that. And now, as far as I can see, when I opened my eyes, something happened,
Yeah.
right? And I felt later on, thinking about it, I had believed that all the speakers about it up until that point, but that experience, or whatever you would call it, that happening,
Yeah.
convinced me that it's real. I don't have to have faith in it anymore. I know it's true. I know what nothingness feels like, or that sensation. So I feel that maybe I'm hanging on to that. I chased it for a while and then gave up trying to find it again.
Yeah.
But I feel that I'm still somehow fucking myself up by having this insight or this glimpse or something.
Yeah.
And I'd just like you to sock me right in the chops and explain to me
there's nothing worse, Avery. The worst, the worst thing that ever happens for self is a glimpse, or an hour, as you've described,
right,
of absence, seeming absence. By the way, absence is only seeming absence as well, because of course there is no one to be absent. So
right.
it's just all story. So all you're telling me is a story of, it was obvious, the emptiness, the nothing, and then it's sort of wasn't obvious the next morning when you woke up.
Right.
And so there's the story of it was obvious and now it's not obvious. I had it and it's gone, or it appeared and then it's disappeared again.
Right.
And that is the worst, because you're now waiting for it to come back.
Right.
It hasn't gone anywhere, Avery. Where the hell would it go? Where would nothing go, Avery?
It would go to emptiness. Well, nothing wouldn't go anywhere. That's
what
right.
I'm saying is, everything is empty. The empty, we're not talking about two things. The nothing is something other than what we're calling ordinary life, everything, the thingness, the reality, what we call normal reality is all empty. That's where the emptiness is. The emptiness isn't somewhere else. It is in the mundane, as you described beautifully when you just said how it was in that experience. It was very clear that everything was nothing.
Right.
That's how it is. It's not how it was. That's a story that Avery is telling himself, that it was like that and now it's not like that.
But how can I get rid of this feeling?
Well, you can't. You are that feeling. And you are the desire to get back to that feeling
but that's where Tim lives.
No, Tim doesn't live. No.
Tim doesn't live there?
No.
The body Tim doesn't live in that place?
No, there's nothing living anywhere.
Really?
No.
Wow.
I know. You could say there's living, aliveness, and that aliveness is, for want of a better word, I could say dead, which is empty. There isn't someone here living in nothing. There isn't someone here aware of nothing or conscious of nothing. It's just nothing. And that nothing is everything. There just isn't. So what I'm saying is what Avery has called himself is completely, the nothing that you said was obvious.
Yeah.
Well, that is what you are, because there isn't anything that isn't. There isn't anything that isn't what is, and what is empty. And it doesn't make any difference about telling the story, but there is no going, you know, that the whole story that you had it, or it was obvious and then it's not. It's just a story, Avery. It's
No, I realize that.
yeah, there isn't a possibility that you would find what you had. There's nothing to be found, which you have described when you said how it was in that hour or so. Yeah, that's how it is. But you didn't find that, and I think you know you didn't find that
Right.
when it was obvious.
Yeah, it just happened.
Yeah.
But so are we not just waiting for it to happen again?
No, because there is nothing. Because when you say that happened, nothing happened when that happened, did it?
Well,
Did anything happen?
Something happened to the self, to the me.
No, it didn't. Is an absence, is nothing a happening? Because that's what we're talking about.
Right. But it
Is nothing, is emptiness, is the abyss, void, is that a happening?
It seems like a happening to the self.
Exactly. But as nothing, it's not a happening. No. So what we're speaking of is a not happening. But to self, it appears to happen, yeah, or not.
Well, it's impossible. We've worked out already that it's impossible to find this from the self.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah, that's the cosmic joke. That's the sick. That's the
right,
very.
I got that. It's
the cruelest joke for anyone who's bitten by this, which it sounds like you were bitten many years ago. And
55 years ago. But the point being is that if it doesn't happen, right, just by itself, then there's nothing anybody can do about it. So
No.
the whole point of even thinking about it is a waste of time.
Yeah, but if there was any hope, then hopelessness would be the only hope. You know? Because while you're hoping that you could return to what you felt what happened then could happen again, well, you're just living in hope. So there isn't anything to come.
So I have to get to the place where I
No.
realize that it can't happen.
No.
So whichever way I turn, I'm fucked, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the best I've got to offer you, is that you're fucked. Yeah.
So,
But the thing is, Avery, you're in great company, aren't you? Because there aren't any human beings that aren't fucked, by the way.
that's
So
right.
you don't want to think that, you know, that I'm in a special place, because that's, you know, you did say
No.
that, but no, I'm not. That's the whole message is no, I'm not. No, I'm not.
I know that.
And nor is Tony, and nor is anyone else that you've listened to. No, that's the whole message is no, I'm not.
But the self disappeared for
No.
all of you.
No, it never was. And that might sound like just pissing with words, but it's not. It's not. It's not that self disappears. There was never anything to lose. That is the most wonderful news. That is the incredible good news. There is no self. Not that you can lose a self. No, they might sound, you know, almost the same. They couldn't be more different. The apparent death, annihilation, non-existence of something that never was, never is, never could be. There is no driver. There's no one inside. And it's not replaced. There is no replacement. That's the other thing that self says, well, if I go, then I'll be replaced by something better.
No, I'm ready for the emptiness. I want, it's
You
fine with me.
You do sound ready. Yeah.
I just can't see how I get past this idea that something has to happen, because I'm not going to work it out. I've got that.
No, you won't get past the idea. So you can relax on that as well. There is no getting past the idea that something has to happen, because of course, as me, then of course something does have to happen in order for me not to be present.
Right. So I get the feeling right on the tip of your tongue. Go on, you could go on.
The reason you've heard, you said about Jim or Tony or plenty of other speakers will say, no, nothing needs to happen. Well, of course, nothing needs to happen, because it's not that nothing needs to happen, nothing is going to happen. Full stop. There isn't anything to come. There isn't anything going to happen.
But that sounds like everybody's going to be fucked forever.
Well, we've already agreed on that, Avery.
Not forever, surely.
Well, no.
It wasn't for you.
No, everybody is fucked. We agreed on that just a few minutes ago.
That's true.
So there's no exception. So the rule of fucked is universal. There are no exceptions to that.
Right.
As human beings, we are certainly all in this same boat.
Well, I reckon I've thrashed this to death, so I need to let some
thanks,
others.
Avery. And thanks for sharing that with us.
Well, I appreciate your insight, and I'll try not to let anything happen.
Well, it's all in spite of your efforts, Avery.
I do.
Yeah, I think you're well aware of that.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And one last thing, I really, really love your sense of humor. I'm in America, and I miss the English sense of humor big time. They're all dead over here.
Yeah, we won't be too offensive to our transatlantic cousins, but yeah, you can miss a British sense of humor, I'm sure.
Absolutely. All right, bro. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Avery.
Okay, can I talk? It's my turn.
So yeah, Lijo, you're next. That was lovely, Avery. I really enjoyed that.
Was it? I think that horse is dead. But that was a lot of fucking questions for being ready. Anyways, I'm sorry. I don't mean to cross talk, but I feel like I also ran out of questions, Tim.
Yeah.
By the way, how are you?
Yeah, good. Are you? Are you all right?
Irritated right now. Yeah, I'm irritated right now, but I'm okay because I'm not a patient guy. But so listen, I feel like also I ran out of questions. I feel like I know I ran out of questions. But here's my question.
Yeah, hit me with it, man. What is it?
Do cats know the truth? Is that why the cat is not interested in what you have to say?
Yes. I can only guess, but if I was guessing, I'd say yeah. The cat knows there's no truth without knowing that he knows. Yeah.
Okay, that was a question from the cat. That's all I got, man. Thank you.
No, that's a good question.
That was a great question, I thought.
No, it is really good. Yeah. Cats and dogs know the truth without needing to know the truth, of course.
I got one more, if I may.
Oh,
and this is my last question. I'm out of questions this time for real. But it's not real. Are you yet another voice in my head?
Well, I guess if I'm a voice in your head, do you hear my voice in your head, Elijah?
Yes, I do.
Yes, then.
Okay. Oh. Thank you.
Thanks.
Joey has his hand up. Go ahead, Joe.
I'm back. I realized that you how ruthless you are, because you don't even give me the contrast to be able to hang on to the division between the personal and impersonal communication.
There's no division, Joey.
You know, because me loves that.
Oh yeah, I love that. Yeah, we're not talking about an impersonal life.
But even the communication, I mean, because me loves to hang on to the idea of, you know, how somebody who's a teacher that gives somebody something and it feeds the me, and this is an impersonal communication, so this doesn't feed the me, and it just, you know, that's, you know, me, I can stand on that.
Yeah, you can, yeah. Well, I'm glad I'm not giving you that then, Joey.
Yeah, you're the you're the sweetest and yet the most ruthless.
Oh, you say the nicest things, Joey.
Yeah, I know, I'm such a whore.
You're just sweet talking me, aren't you?
Woo, what kind of channel is this? Oh, sorry.
Thanks, Joey.
Yeah. No, that's huge. That's huge.
Well, yeah, because I was always imagining what this impersonal life, because because I took things personally and I didn't want to. You know, and life was always personal to me, and that's where the suffering seemed to be. But again, that's an illusion. The personal, what I called mine, was never mine. That's all. So what I called my personality was not mine. What I called my achievements weren't mine. My family, not mine. My strengths, not mine. My weaknesses, my beliefs. Everything's taken. And in that, nothing is lost. Nothing. Nothing's lost at all, because none of it was mine. So in the seeming loss of everything, nothing is lost.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Joey. There's only this, and this can't be lost. It is that simple. There's no losing this, nor finding it. That's the rest. No more questions. This is unquestionably as it is. That's all we're ever speaking of. How is that? Exactly as it is.
Tim, just before, you sounded like you were rounding up, but I think we forgot David. He's got his hand up.
Oh yeah, David, yeah.
Oh, you're muted, David.
You're still muted, David.
Yeah, I'm muted, so yeah, no, I wouldn't want you to overrun. I think it's slightly before 8. But,
it's all right.
yeah.
I'm quite happy to go another 10 minutes.
Well, this will be over quite quickly, I think. It's just a wee quote again. It kind of, in some ways, it flies in the face of what you've been saying. In other ways, maybe not, actually. And it just occurred to me in light of I think tonight's been very special, actually. I'm not supposed to say such things, but I've engaged with it really intensely, actually. I've dug out this thing in a wee book I've got here, and it's by Yuji. It's good to see him getting a good press these days, I think. Don't you think? You know, he was kind of hidden away for a long time.
I'm still a fan, yeah.
Yeah, me too. But of course, there's lots of ifs and buts, and you know, it's of its time. pre the 25-year cutoff. But it's just what he says. Of course, he uses the word state, and he relented on that a bit, I think, didn't he?
Natural state he used to go on.
Yeah, and the use of the word state, but it's about this shift that doesn't happen, as it were.
Right.
And he was, as you pointed out, a bit like yourself, a great drama queen. So the way he presents,
it's the most dramatic. He puts me in the shade.
but it's still lovely. And again, the notion that this wasn't written, it's a bit like Nisargadatta perhaps, he just spoke it, beautiful language. But anyway, so this is not a state of of omniscience, wherein all of man's eternal questions are answered. Rather, it is a state in which questioning has stopped. It has stopped because those questions have no relation to the way the organism is functioning. And the way the organism is functioning leaves no room for those questions.
Oh, it's nice. Yeah.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Again, to speak like that off the top of your head it's remarkable. And it flies in the face of some of what's been said, I think, because he does make it sound like very dramatic and a big shift. But at the same time, you get the sense that there's nothing really happening at all. I can't really put my finger on it, but I just thought it was quite opposite in the light of these.
Well, he called it the great catastrophe, didn't
he? That's right. Yeah. But it seemed quite opposite in light of these very.
And I would agree that it isn't an art. What I would really emphasize from what he said is that what we're speaking of is the end of the questioner not finding answers, but the questions just not appearing anymore.
Yeah. It was someone's pointed out in chat that it was calamity, not catastrophe.
Calamity. Sorry.
The whole catastrophe was
calamity.
Zorba the Greek. Zorba the Greek. The whole catastrophe. Anyway, it's just lovely, and I thought I would just share that.
Thanks, David.
Like what was said, and I found, for whatever reason, I found tonight very special. So thank you.
Oh, thanks, David.
Jonathan has his hand up.
Jonathan.
You're muted, is it Jonathan or Jonathan?
No, I unmuted.
Oh,
yeah. Hi, Tim. It's my first time here with you. I've been on Desperate Seeker since my first glimpse, you would say, 2012, and been on a long thing going on since. And where I feel stuck is that, it's not the only thing maybe, but it's about, of course, I feel desperate, like it was described earlier, that it's like the most, it's like a prison, like you've experienced yourself totally without any inhibition and anything. You come out from the hypnosis of your created self-image.
Mm-hmm.
You just what's left is your only just the reality uninhibited. There's nothing really to say about it.
No, that's quite accurate.
And then so are you living? Are you experiencing that? Like, do you have fear inside you, which you're aware of, and you're not judging the fear, or is that, or do you feel about being fucked? Everybody's fucked. Is that to me translates to like we have conditioning, different conditionings, and then maybe like patterns of fear that we're not aware of, even, but we don't we're not, like, there's still our personality expressing.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, I really always want to emphasize that personality, what we call personality, I use the word character rather than personality, but only because it hasn't got the word person in it.
Yeah.
Because of course, personality as a word sounds as though it must belong to me. You know, it's my personality because I'm the person it belongs to.
Okay, yeah.
Well, and what's being said is that what you have called your personality or your character, your likes and dislikes, beliefs, everything that you've labeled as mine is simply that they were always just as they are. They were never yours. They are never yours. They don't belong. So there is no one to whom all of what you've attributed belonging to you, none of it is yours. Simply because there is no you for it to belong to. It's just like saying, you know, we don't, well, actually we do. I was going to say we don't blame a dog, you know, who's got a personality disorder and a, you know, aggressive personality, a nasty dog who you don't want to be around. We don't say that he has a self, you know, the dog. We don't attribute the dog's personality to the dog self, but we do to ourselves, and we do with all human beings. And all this message is really ever saying is that is the illusion. That's the great lie. That's the delusion. I am the delusion.
But in the glimpse, there was no character at all. There was no, there was just being.
No, I will say, when you say there's no character at all, of course there was the human being called Jonathan who likes what that human being likes and dislikes what it dislikes. And that's all absolutely natural. There won't be any noticing. There's no one here who notices the character. That is one of the amazing freedoms. One of the reasons that this is worth talking about is because without a self who is conscious of the personality traits, there is an absolute absence of self-consciousness. And self-consciousness is, for many human beings, is torture.
I think I missed, can you repeat that?
There's no one here conscious of the personality. So yeah, so like you said, there was just being. Yeah, exactly that.
But are you saying that the character is still there?
Well, no, there isn't a thing called the character. There are characteristics, aren't there? So there's characteristic ways of responding, reacting, of being, of speaking.
It sounds to me that yeah, when you said that yeah, Jonathan is still there with his likes or dislikes or something. I don't know what.
Well, it's not the Jonathan. Well, no. Well, you could say there's
like
no.
It's both there. It's both here, the character, and it's yet not. That's what I'm taking from.
Well, how I would say it really is there's characteristics, personality traits, which are just patterns of behavior, patterns of response, patterns of, they're completely natural, just like any other animal.
Mm.
They're just not yours. And without you noticing, just as you described in your glimpse, as you described it, there's just the sense of being. But I mean, that's even saying too much. Well, what does that mean? You know, what does a sense of being mean? You know, there's no knowing that.
Yeah, I'm thinking about fear because
well, without me, most fear is for me, and so without that sense of center, without that me who's always looking out for itself, there is much less fear.
Yeah. Yeah, the glimpse revealed that there is nothing wrong. Everything I've thought about, like that motivates me to be something.
Yeah.
I already am complete in that sense. Nothing. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, there's nothing to be completed.
So there is absolutely no fear in that state of being, or in that
No.
because and it's not also not something made up. It's without the created fear that I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
So no fear exists.
No, that's not it. No, there's no fear for me. There's fear though. You know, there's natural, what I call natural fear, rather than neurotic fear.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So what most fear that most human beings experience is neurosis, is fear for me.
Okay. It felt like fear. Fear was illusion, but it was always, it was a short time, and so I cannot say that there's no.
No, if during that short time you had a ferocious dog come snarling at you, I'm guessing there would be fear. Natural.
Yeah, or just intelligence. I don't know. I don't know because I didn't experience that. But like in those moments where some kind of you don't think, you're just acting. What needs to be done in the situation.
That's how it always is, Jonathan.
Yeah, if we're not neurotic.
The illusion is that it's other than that just reacting.
Yeah. Mm.
That's the bit that says I'm in charge, I'm in control.
So you're saying that even the pure being is fear is included in that.
Everything, well, in being, everything is included.
Mm. Mm.
There's no exclusion.
I have a hard time imagining that fear will exist in that if I experienced myself purely throughout my life, like.
I feel like saying, oh, we'll wait till you're there and then phone us up and we'll come round and see if we can scare you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
You know.
Okay.
No,
Thanks.
fear is totally natural, Jonathan, along with every other emotion.
That makes me think fear is, if fear is totally natural, it's always there also, then it is running the show. If it's there, like.
Well, no, well, yeah, it's me who feels is running the show, not fear. Of course, I'm generally afraid of everything.
I don't feel it matches with the pure being.
Well, you know, pure being is being isn't pure. You know, being is being everything. All the impurity is being as well. Being isn't discriminating on a pure on a level of purity.
This could be a long talk, and I feel that I have to step back a bit now, and I'm happy for the talk.
Thanks, Jonathan. No, thank you.
Thanks.
Nice to see you. Take care.
You too.
Well, thanks very much for coming, everybody.
Thanks, Tim.
And yeah, I'm going to stick to just having a meeting on a Thursday for the time being, see how it goes. And yeah, if you'd like to make a donation, then by all means do. Don't feel you have to, but they're gratefully received. And yeah, thanks for coming.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you,
All the
Tim.
best.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
You're such a bastard, Tim. You even take the meetings away.
Yeah.
Bye,
Yeah.
Tim.
Yeah, I need to ration you, Joey.
Yeah, well, I can.
Cheers,
Thank you.
everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye,
Cheers,
Tim.
Tim.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye.
Bye. See
See you
you.
later, Tim. Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.